Morning students. In this video we will discuss about another function of ecosystem, that is nutrient cycling. This is the one of the important functional aspect of ecosystem. So what is nutrient cycling? Nutrient cycling means it is exchanges or storage or transfer of biogenetic nutrients from various components of ecosystem, so that these nutrients can be used again and again. Nutrient cycling means it is exchanges, storage, a transfer of biogenetic nutrients of various components of biosphere, so that the nutrients can be used again and again. And the term biogeochemicals or biogeochemical cycling. Biogeochemical cycling means it is the transfer of various biogenetic nutrients between biotic and abiotic components of biosphere. Biogeochemicals means they are inorganic nutrients. The exchanges or the storage, a transfer of these biogenetic nutrients between biotic and abiotic components. Biotic and abiotic components of ecosystem or biosphere. The amount of biogenetic nutrients present at any time in the growth medium of ecosystem is called standing state. So standing state, already I told you the function of ecosystem. The total amount of inorganic nutrients present in any growth medium of ecosystem is called standing state. And what is standing crop? Standing crop means the amount of organic material. The amount of organic material present in ecosystem is called standing crop. But what is standing state? The amount of biogenetic nutrients present in any growth medium of ecosystem is known as standing state. For storage of biogenetic nutrients, there are two stores. What are the two stores? Reserve pool and cycling pool. Reserve pool and cycling pool. These are the two stores for biogenetic nutrients. Reserve pool, so it is the reservoir of nutrients. It is the reservoir of nutrients from which the later can be slowly transferred into cycling pool. For example, phosphates in rocks. In rocks, phosphate present. Rocks are the reservoirs for phosphates. And then, so when the withering of rocks takes place, then phosphates are entering into soil solution. So soil solution is nothing but cycling pool. So what is reserve pool? It is a reservoir of nutrients from which the latter can be slowly transferred into cycling pool. For example, phosphates in rocks. The rate of release depends on some of the environmental factors like temperature, soil, pH, moisture. So these environmental factors depends the rate of release of various biogenetic nutrients from the reserve pool to cycling pool. And this reserve pool, usually it means deficiency of nutrients. It means deficiency of nutrients which occur due to differences between rate of influx and efflux of biogenetic nutrients. Influx means inward movement, efflux means outward movement. The reserve pool usually it means deficiency of biogenetic nutrients. The deficiency of biogenetic nutrients usually occurs due to the rate of differences between the rate of influx, inward movement and outward movement of nutrients. The second one is cycling pool. So what is cycling pool? This is the pool where the nutrients regularly become emptied and filled. Emptied and filled means in this pool sometimes nutrients become emptied and sometimes nutrients become filled. That is due to exchange of biogenetic nutrients between biotic and abiotic components of ecosystem. So these are the two types of reserves by biogenetic nutrients. Reservoir pool means nutrients become stored, and cycling pool, in cycling pool there is regular circulation, the regular circulation of nutrients between biotic and abiotic components of ecosystem. And there are also two different types of mediums. One is cycles, gaseous cycles. Nutrient cycling is of two types, gaseous cycles and sedimentary cycling. Sedimentary cycles. Sedimentary cycles or cycles. Gaseous cycle. So what is the gaseous cycle? So it is the exchange or transfer of gaseous nutrients. Gaseous nutrients between biotic and abiotic components of ecosystem. For example, the new carbon cycle, hydrogen cycle, nitrogen cycle, oxygen cycle and water cycle. All these are under they are placed under gaseous cycle. All they are gases. The exchange of carbon, the exchange of hydrogen, the exchange of oxygen, the exchange of nitrogen, exchange of water between biotic and abiotic components is nothing but gaseous cycles. And second one is sedimentary cycle. It is the exchange of non-gaseous. It is the exchange of non-gaseous nutrients. It is the exchange of non-gaseous cycles. It is the exchange of non-gaseous minerals between biotic and abiotic components of ecosystem. What are the non-gaseous? For example, phosphorus, sulfur, calcium and magnesium. So all of them are under sedimentary cycles. So gaseous cycles, the exchange of gaseous minerals between biotic and abiotic components. These are the examples. The sedimentary cycles, the exchange of non-gaseous cycles between biotic and abiotic components. These are the examples. Here, one more important thing is sulfur. Sulfur has both gaseous and sedimentary phases. It is very important. So phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, they are pure sedimentary cycles, and all of them are pure gaseous cycles. But here, the sulfur has both gaseous and sedimentary cycles. Here we should know one more thing, that is gaseous cycles are more rapid and they are more perfect than sedimentary cycles. Here, so we should learn each one example from each cycles. From gaseous cycle, we should learn carbon cycle. From sedimentary cycle, we should learn phosphorus cycle. So let us discuss the first example, that is carbon cycle. First example is carbon cycle. If you observe NCERT textbook, there is a simplified carbon cycle, the diagrammatic representation like. Here, I write the schematic representation of carbon cycle. So this is the carbon. In carbon, it is present in carbon dioxide. So atmosphere to hydrosphere. Atmosphere to hydrosphere. So this is the carbon dioxide or carbon present in the atmosphere, and usually it enter into producers. It enter into producers through photosynthesis, or sometimes it is burning. Plants are burning. When plants are burning, then carbon again added to this atmosphere, and sometimes some amount of carbon it occurs. It is under chemical combustion and seepage. Chemical combustion and seepage. And due to chemical combustion and seepage, it is entering into carbonate rocks. Carbonate rocks. It enters into carbonate rocks. So carbonate rocks, sometimes it is due to, it occurs volcanoes, or sometimes mining also takes place, or sometimes hot springs. Due to hot springs, again the carbon enter into atmosphere. Or sometimes this produced from producers, it enter into consumers, or consumers sometimes respiration, sometimes, not sometimes, always it under respiration. So due to respiration, again carbon dioxide enter into atmospheres. Or sometimes, so consumers, producers, their death and decomposition takes place. When death and decomposition takes place, so death and decomposition takes place, so it is caused by microorganisms. So microorganisms, again it enter into this. Or sometimes it is decomposition takes place, and these are the, so different, it is the exchange and transfer. It is the exchange and transfer of carbon dioxide from biotic and abiotic components of ecosystem is called carbon cycle. This is the diagrammatic representation. Or sometimes fossil fuels also. So fossil fuels are also here to here, fossil fuels present, then fossil fuels combustion takes place. So due to combustion, again carbon dioxide enter into atmosphere to hydrosphere. So this is the schematic representation of carbon cycle. So what is the importance of carbon? What is the importance of carbon? Importance of carbon. So carbon is a components of all organic compounds. It is the component of all organic compounds like carbohydrates, proteins, lipids and nucleic acids. So these are the components of protoplasm. So carbon is the component of organic compounds of protoplasm like carbohydrates, proteins, lipids and nucleic acid. And what are the sources? What are the sources of carbon? So sources are CO2 in air. So in air it is carbon present in CO2. Second one is carbonates and graphites. Carbonates and graphites in rocks. And third source is dissolved carbon dioxide. Dissolved carbon dioxide in water. So these are the sources of carbon. And what is the content and recycling? Content and recycling of carbon. Content and recycling of carbon. So usually it has two poles, reservoir pole and cycling pole. The cycling pole consists of 6 into 10 to the power of 14 kg of, it means 21% of free carbon dioxide present, and it also 1.45 into 10 to the power of 15 kg, means 71% of dissolved carbon dioxide present in oceans. So it is the content of carbon dioxide. And ocean also regulate the small amount of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. This is the reservoir pool of carbon dioxide. This is the cycling pool. The cycling pool of carbon dioxide consists of this much of free carbon dioxide and this much of dissolved carbon dioxide in ocean. And ocean also regulate some amount of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. And for carbon, what is the reservoir pool? The reservoir pool for carbon dioxide, that is lithosphere. Hydrosphere and atmosphere. Hydrosphere and atmosphere is the cycling pool for carbon dioxide, and reservoir pool for carbon dioxide is lithosphere. And lithosphere consists 2.8 into 10 to the power of 21 kg of carbon dioxide. But the carbon present in lithosphere, it does not become available for producers, because producers pick the carbon dioxide and they convert it organic food through the process of photosynthesis. But the amount of carbon dioxide which is present in lithosphere, it does not become available for the producers. But the carbon dioxide present in hydrosphere and atmosphere, it is picked up by producers and converted to organic food through the process of photosynthesis. And the carbon dioxide which is picked up from hydrosphere and atmosphere, it is entering into photosynthesis, they convert into organic food material. It means the carbon dioxide carbon dioxide enter into food chain. When carbon enter into food chain, it is passed from producers to herbivores to primary carnivores to secondary carnivores, and finally decomposers. During this process, the amount of carbon dioxide present in atmosphere decreases, because sometimes the amount of oxygen picked up by producers. So when the amount of carbon picked up from atmosphere, the amount of carbon dioxide in atmosphere and hydrosphere decreases. Then the carbon dioxide in atmosphere and hydrosphere is replenished. It is again replenished by 5 methods. Replenishment of carbon dioxide or replenishment of carbon occurs by 5 methods. So what are the 5 methods? Respiration. So respiration of organisms. It add the carbon dioxide or carbon into the atmosphere. And second one is forest fire. So forest fire also added to the carbon or carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Then death and decomposition of organisms. And next carbonates in rocks, and combustion of fossil fuels like petroleum, coal and natural gas. The combustion of fossil fuels also added the carbon into the atmosphere. So when the amount of carbon decreases in atmosphere and hydrosphere, it is again replenished by 5 different methods. That is respiration in organisms, forest fire, death and decomposition, carbonates in rocks, and combustion of fossil fuels. Usually an exchange of carbon occurs between hydrosphere and atmosphere. The natural exchange between hydrosphere and lithosphere or atmosphere and lithosphere, it occurs slowly. The major exchange of carbon occurs between organisms and atmosphere. This is the carbon cycle. Then we discuss another example from sedimentary cycle. In sedimentary cycle, phosphorus is very important. So second example is phosphorus cycle. So now first of all, we know about the simplified form of phosphorus cycle. So this is the rock minerals. Already in first chapter, below the sea horizon there is a parent rock. So that is called rock minerals. The withering and fragmentation of rock takes place. When it takes place, some amount of phosphorus enter into soil solution. So from soil solution, producers. So producers mainly all green plants. They absorb phosphorus in the form of phosphate with the help of roots. And in this process, some amount of phosphorus is run off. And this process is usually known as uptake. So when it enter into producers, so again it is taken by consumers, and consumers it become detritus. So detritus again enter into soil solution, and this process is called decomposition. Sometimes producers are also, if the producers which are not become a food for consumers, the death and decomposition of producers also become detritus. And detritus again enter into soil solution. So this is the reservoir pool of phosphorus, which the cycling pool. This is the cycling pool. This is the reservoir pool, and this is the cycling pool. So cycling pool sometimes emptied and sometimes it is filled. So this is the simplified cycle of phosphorus cycle. And what is the importance? What is the importance of phosphorus? Phosphorus is the component of nucleic acids, DNA and RNA. It is the component of ATP, and it is also component of phospholipids, and it is also component of bones, and it is also a component of teeth. And what is the sources of phosphorus? Generally, phosphorus used in the form of phosphate. For phosphate, the reservoir pool is rock, phosphate rock, and cycling pool is soil and water. Soil and water are the cycling pools. In soil, phosphorus present in the combination of calcium, iron and aluminium. This point is very important. In soil, phosphorus present in the combination of calcium, iron and aluminium. And what is the use and reuse? Use and release. Generally in soil, the use of phosphorus. In soil, phosphorus or phosphate generally present in insoluble form. It is present in insoluble form. Then insoluble phosphorus dissolved by chemicals. It is dissolved by chemicals. When it is dissolved by chemicals, the dissolved phosphorus is absorbed. The dissolved phosphorus is absorbed by producers or green plants. And some amount of phosphorus fertilizers are also added to the soil to increase the availability of phosphorus. From plants, phosphorus enters into animals through the process of food chain, along with the food chain and foodware, the phosphorus enter from plants to animals. So this is the regular circulation of phosphorus from biotic and abiotic components of ecosystem. So these are the two important cycles, nutrient cycles. One is from carbon cycle from gaseous cycle, and phosphorus from sedimentary cycle. Here you should know, you should understand, or you should remember that one point, that is sulfur. Sulfur has both sedimentary and gaseous phases. Sometimes it acts as sedimentary cycle, sometimes it acts as gaseous cycle. So these are the two important cycles. So there is a last topic from ecosystem, that is ecosystem services. Ecosystem services. So what are ecosystem services? The product of ecosystem processes which are environmental, aesthetic and indirect economic values. Indirect economic values, all of them are called ecosystem services. Ecosystem provides us so many important products. For example, carbon fixation. Producers, all of us know producers, they pick the carbon dioxide and convert organic material in the process of photosynthesis. And one more important product is oxygen release. So in the photosynthesis, oxygen also released as byproduct, which is very essential for the respiration of all living aerobic organisms. And one more important product is pollination. So pollination, it is one of the important or essential for the reproduction in plants. And pollination also occurs, or it is also one of the kind of ecosystem services. And one more important thing is soil formation and soil protection. Soil formation and soil protection are the two major ecosystem services. And some of the tribals, so a large number of tribals are also, they live in forest, and so many products, they are coming from the ecosystem. And here one scientist, his name is Robert Constanja. So Robert Constanja and his colleagues have put the value of ecosystem services to $33 trillion. $33 trillion. The values of ecosystem services have put the value of $33 trillion, which is nearly twice the global GNP of 18. So global GNP is $18 trillion. But the value of ecosystem services have put the $33 trillion by Robert Constanja and his colleagues. Out of them, 50% of its value is for soil formation and for protecting from floods and mitigating droughts. Then 10% of its value for nutrient cycling and recreation. And 6% of its value for habitat for wildlife. So these are the ecosystem services. From this video, chapter ecosystem is totally completed. So from next video, we will discuss another chapter, that is biodiversity and its conservation. Thank you.